All right, guys, I wanted to make a quick video tutorial about the new custom model on RickRunGood.com. This is really version 1 of your own weighted custom model. I believe there are, quick count, like 29 different stats that you can choose from. I will be adding more all the time so that you can look at all the information that you've gotten over the course of the week, and you can make your own decisions, put your weights in, and get rankings for each individual golfer. So just to start with how this is set up, you'll see each of the stat categories is kind of categorized here. So all of the strokes gained statistics are the same, or are together, excuse me. The driving, distance, and accuracy, they are together. Approach is together, short game is together, putting and scoring, of course, okay? So just to be clear about what some of these abbreviations are, this is proximity. So you have green and regulation for approach, and then proximity from these different yardages. Under 100, 100 to 125, 125 to 150, and so on. Scoring, this is scoring averages for pars 3s, par 4s, par 5s, and your overall scoring average. And then putting is, of course, your putting from these distances, your 3-putt percentage, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how this is set up. Now, the way that I would personally use this, and you can use this any way you want, but you can distribute your 100 weights any way that you would like. So if you want to be all in on one statistic, strokes gained total, you put them all in 100, and you'll see now you have no weights remaining. Now, if I put 50 in there, you'll see that I have 50 weights remaining, and I can clear them all, for example. Now, the way that I would generally do this, and this is entirely up to you, but I would probably go use the key stats model for the week, which looks like this. So this is the regression model that I run every week. There's a tutorial for this tool as well, where I rank all of the most important stats. Now, there aren't a ton, the way that this reads is strokes gained around the green is, there's only 28 other courses that it is more important at out of 50. So unfortunately, these are all kind of middle of the road stats over here, but you can see a lot of putting stats rank very highly. We know that it's a par 70. So here's how I would kind of use this custom model. I would say, okay, so generally for me, I like strokes gained tee to green. So I'm going to put 25 of my weights there. Then also, I want par 4 scoring to be pretty heavy because this is a par 70. There's 2 extra par 4s, and those guys are usually pretty good approach players. So I'm just going to throw in, let's call it 42 of them there. So I have 33 left. I don't usually do a lot of putting, but let's do 12 on putting because I saw that it was important this week. And let's say, because I kind of know that Colonial is not necessarily a bomber's course. Obviously, bombers help everywhere, but there are holes that you just can't really unleash this. So I'm going to put the rest of mine in driving accuracy. And now that I've used all of my weights, I'm going to run this model. You'll see it'll open up and it will default you to the lowest score at the top. Now, the score itself, it doesn't really matter. Like 13.7 doesn't really mean that much. I was just going to rank them, but what I wanted to do is show you how much better one guy is over the next. So that score, lower is obviously better. So if it's green next to it, that's good. As I scroll down, you'll start to see them get into yellow. This is your middle of the road rankings. And then the red is the bottom of your rankings. So the reason that I at least wanted to show you the number, the score, instead of just ranking them, is because sometimes there's a big difference between number 1 and number 2, or number 34 and number 35. So here's a great example. In that model I just ran, Webb Simpson is basically 9 points better than Joel Damon and 13 full points better than Jon Rahm. Now, if I just ranked them, you would not know that there was that big of a gap between those 3 golfers, because like if you look here, the difference between Harry Higgs and Daniel Berger is 1/10 of a point, 1/10 of the score. So I did not like the idea of necessarily just ranking them, because you would not know if Joel Damon was right behind Webb Simpson or if he was, or if Webb Simpson was far and away ahead of the field. So that is why I actually did end up including the score here. Now you can see the rounds. Those are how many measured rounds, measured with strokes gained data. That is an important distinction here, especially for the statistics that require strokes gained metrics. Now, if it does not require strokes gained metrics, there might actually be more rounds for a player. So if it's just like putting average, putting average is basically calculated on every single round in every single tournament, whether there is a laser there doing the strokes gained or not. It's part of like the basic stat package. So like there might actually be more rounds for Webb in some of the basic stats. But what I did is I'm showing you the measured rounds, basically the minimum number of rounds that I have on someone. And you can sort, and these are their rankings, right? So you can see, 170 means Joel Damon is 170th in strokes gained putting. 7 means Webb Simpson is 7th in strokes gained approach. That is obviously very, very good. So if you want to run another one, you can just come up here to open filters again, and you can adjust these, right? And you can say, okay, I don't want 42 on par fours. I want 32, and I want 10 on par threes, and I can run this. And I can get, different numbers. Now, John Rahm jumps over Joel Damon. Adam Hadwin jumps up a little bit. I don't remember the exact order. Daniel Berger got better, which is really interesting. Now, a couple things about this. You don't have to use all of your points, or you can spend more than your points. I do not recommend doing that. This is built around using 100 of your weights. So whether you just split them up, or maybe if you have weights left over and you just want to put them on strokes gained total, which is kind of like the default, just show me who the better players are, I would recommend that. If you start going crazy and adding, now I'm at negative 90 points remaining, you will still get rankings, but it kind of throws off the calculation here. I would not really recommend doing that. So clear all, that'll get you out of it, but you can really mess around with this. And this is, again, version 1. The next versions I envision certainly will have more stats. So I think there's, at least 145 that we could put in here. Obviously, some of them are right, hitting out of the proximity from the right rough between 100 and 125 yards. Some guys might have 2 shots from there. So I'm trying to walk the fine line of giving you actionable stats. And then also what I want to do is incorporate the time aspect into this. So right now we're using 2020 season stats, but I want to have it so that you can choose the time frame. If you want it a little shorter, you want it a little bit longer. So that's what I have in mind for the next version of this, but a really good starting point to this custom model that will give you custom results so that you can be unique to the rest of the field. So I hope you enjoy.